Well, welcome and thank you all for joining us. My name is Betsy Boja, and I am the 2025 president of the League of Women Voters of Greater Tucson. So I want to welcome you all. And I want to start off with our land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the League of Women Voters of Greater Tucson is on the land and territories of Indigenous peoples. Today, Arizona is home to 22 federally recognized tribes, with Tucson being home to the Tohono O'odham and the Pasquiyaki people. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization encouraging informed and active participation in government. So it's very nice to see you all here. We neither support nor oppose candidates or political parties at any level of government. We do, however, advocate for public policy such as voting rights, non-discrimination, civil rights, reproductive rights, and criminal justice reform. We have been empowering voters and defending democracy in Greater Tucson for 81 years. Today, we invite all people, regardless of gender identity, ability, ethnicity, or race, to join us as we commit to righting the wrongs of our past and building a stronger, more inclusive democracy. So I'm going to hand it over to our advocacy chair, Lovely Gantier.
Good evening and welcome again to the Tucson City Council Candidate Forum for Ward 6. My name is Lovely Gantier and I'm honored to serve as your moderator tonight. I do not live or vote in this ward. I am here as a completely neutral party, committed to a fair and respectful exchange of ideas this evening. This event is made possible by the help of our dedicated volunteers. We have Frank Thompson, that will be our timekeeper. Please raise your hand so we know who you are. We have also Sharon Magnon that will be assisting him. We have Mara Raffensberger and Betsy Woodhouse who will be our question sorters. And we have Mary P. Davis and Linda Heffernan who are our floor monitors. They will be picking up your questions from you. On your chair, you'll find a pencil and 3x5 index card. If you have questions for the candidates, please write it down, raise your hand. One of our volunteers will collect your card and bring it here to our sorters. Our sorters will review all questions to avoid repetition and do our best to ensure a wide range of topics are covered this evening. We are joined by our 4 candidates: Miranda Schubert, Leighton Rockafellow, Jay Tolkoff, and James Sinex. Due to time limitations, not all the submitted questions may be asked, and I do apologize up front if we are unable to get to your specific question. We appreciate your understanding. To ensure a smooth forum, we ask everyone to follow a few guidelines that our candidates have already agreed to in advance. Please, at this moment, silence your cell phones and put them away. No video recording or photos are allowed. No live streaming is allowed. We are professionally recording and streaming this, and you can find it at facebook.com/League LWV Greater Tucson. For those who have not been able to make it into the room, feel free to watch it on our Facebook page. We are live streaming. It will also be made available for you at a later time on YouTube. All right, Mr. Thompson will be using time cards to show the candidates how much time they have remaining. If the speaker exceeds their time after the stop sign has been raised, I will politely intervene. If they continue to speak, I will continue to intervene. This ensures all candidates have equal speaking time. The candidates will each have 90 seconds to share with us their opening remarks, and then 1 minute to answer your questions, and another 90 seconds to give a closing. We will rotate who goes first with each question. Ms. Schubert has graciously agreed to go first. on the first question. I would have gladly made any of the other guys do it, but she volunteered, so thank you. We kindly ask that the audience refrain from applause, cheering, booing, or any verbal reactions during the forum. We will all have an opportunity to show our appreciation at the end of the program. Disruptions will not be welcomed, and individuals may be asked to leave if distractions become apparent. We will now begin with opening statements from each of the candidates. I turn the floor to Ms. Schubert.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me? Okay. No, I think because of the microphone. Okay, I hope that doesn't cut into my time. Good evening, and thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum. Thank you all for being here today and taking the time to listen to what we each have to say. My name is Miranda Schubert. I'm a city commissioner, a community organizer, and an operations manager. I currently serve on the city's Complete Streets Coordinating Council and the Board of Adjustment. I founded Tucson for Everyone, co-founded the Transit for All Coalition, and currently serve on the steering committee for the Tucson Alliance for Housing Justice. Since running for the same seat in 2021, I've learned that Ward 6 wants a council member who shows up, listens, and advances real solutions. It's that kind of leadership I will bring to City Hall. During my time on city commissions and working side by side with neighbors, I've been bringing results to Ward 6 without a seat on the council. We've secured tangible wins like fare free transit and sustainable housing solutions for more affordability and to tackle the homelessness crisis. It has been a privilege to dig in even deeper to the issues that impact us. The neighborhoods across Ward 6 are diverse, but we hear the same issues come up time and time again. I've heard from longtime residents that they understand our city needs to change, but that we can balance those changes by protecting our unique local character. I've been running this campaign like I plan on running a Ward 6 council office by being accessible and meeting people where they are at. Thank you, and I look forward to sharing more about myself.
Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Leighton Rockafellow Jr., and I also want to thank all of you and the League of Women Voters for this opportunity. This entire experience has been incredibly rewarding. I'm so impressed with Tucsonans and their interest in democracy. I was born and raised right here in Tucson. I am an attorney. I am a member of my neighborhood association. I sit on the board. I am a frequent volunteer for Step Up to Justice here in Southern Arizona. Ever since Steve Kay left this office, City Hall has been lacking a voice of reason. We liked Steve because he was not afraid to vote against the bloc. He was willing to be the outsider when it meant doing what was right for the city and Ward 6. I am ready to be the one who puts in the research, who meets with the people, who confers with the experts to make decisions that are right for Ward 6. Running the city is about providing the safe roads, the infrastructure, the security that the people need to enjoy their lives, enjoy their city, and to thrive. It's about meeting with the people and understanding how the city is helping or hurting them. Despite being a lifelong Democrat, I am not endorsed by any elected officials or any members of the Democratic Party.
Thank you.
And I think that is good for Ward.
Thank you so very much. Mr. Tolkoff, please.
You're good.
Thank you.
People tell me that you're always supposed to introduce yourself at these political type functions. So I'm Jay Tolkoff. I'm running for Ward 6 Council office, and now that that's out of the way, I had the experience today of being at my first NAAA type meeting. I was there to support a friend of mine who is 5 years clean and sober today. And I was, never being in that kind of an environment before, I was completely amazed at the tangible sense of community and bonding that was in that group. And I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great if we could capture that in the sense of the people that are out voting? And so first of all, I want to say thank you to all of you And I think we all have one thing in common, and it's that we care. And what's really unfortunate is when I walked into this room, I thought, wow, if we had enough people to care, we should be at McHale Center. I want to let you know I care. I've been in this city for close to 50 years. I am the sole Republican. I don't have Republican values. I don't have Democrat values. I have Tucson values. I want to use my experience that I have in business to promote a community where everybody does better. I have a skill set that is not currently on the city council, and it's necessary. And I'm done.
Thank you.
My name is Jim Sinex, and I'm a Democratic candidate for Ward 6. I'm the odd duck in the group. Okay, I've been here since 1960. I've been here a long time. And I'm a product of TUSD. I'm a product of the University of Arizona. I taught 20 years at Tucson High, and during the time I was at Tucson High, I was a union organizer with the Tucson Education Association. All right, that's enough about me. If you know who I am, then you would know that I'm the guy who's had the 20-year argument with the city of Tucson over our election system. I believe that our election system disenfranchises voters. League of Women Voters here has a forum here where you guys are asking the questions. That makes this forum probably the best. I hope one of you will ask a question about our election system, because too often politicians are able to be quiet about it. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you something odd. Couple of odd things. First of all, elections are not about candidates. Elections are not about political parties. Elections are about voters. The American experiment of self-governance. We are to choose our representatives. Okay, and so that's one of the things I am on. And now I'm going to stop.
Ms. Schubert, if you will answer first for us, and thank you again for being willing, what would be your top 3 priorities as a council member?
Thank you. I really see the homelessness and housing affordability crises as intertwined, so I could count that as one, just under the umbrella of housing justice. I would say making our roads safer for all users by balancing the needs of everybody, not just cars. And I would say really looking for community-rooted approaches to community safety.
Thank you. Mr. Rockafellow, if you'll answer the same question.
Number one, our homeless crisis. As a native Tucsonan, I am just devastated by what I see on our streets and by how it's affecting so many aspects of everyday Tucsonans' lives who are having to make decisions and changes to the way they live in this city because of this crisis, to say nothing of the people living in the streets with no safety and security. Number two is our economy. There's been a lack of focus on that economy for the past 6 years, and we saw a net loss in jobs last year, and that is just devastating for an economy that is trying to thrive, that is trying to provide for its residents. So that is the second focus. The third would be safety, and that includes streets, that includes in our everyday lives, that includes crime. So those are my top three.
Thank you. Mr. Tolkoff.
Well, being the business guy that I was, I firmly believe that the city council is responsible to hold the city manager, who really calls the shot, accountable for the way they're spending their money. Our budget has gone up 71% in the last 5 years, and I don't see the results from it. I believe that there's a tremendous amount of waste, and I believe that there's a tremendous amount of efficiency that we need to deal with. And wow, 30 seconds. And so that's the first thing. The second thing, you cannot say enough about how public safety is in desperate need of a rehabilitation. Our first responders need to be fully funded. And the housing crisis, the homelessness, the economy, all those things kind of all blend together into one big thing that definitely all needs to be addressed. And those would be my three.
Thank you, Mr. Sinex.
Yes. It's speed dating, Jay. Speed dating.
Goes fast.
Yeah. Can I move now?
No. My campaign really comes down to three things, okay? It comes down to community-based decision-making, and that means our entire community. Okay, we don't serve just the Democratic Party. We don't serve. We don't just serve our party interess. Okay, on that idea of community-based decision-making are two pillars. Both of them have to stand. The first is a better, more modern, representative democracy. Okay, we're right now electing with something from 1929. It's about to be 100 years old. We can do better. We can at least have a conversation about it. The second one is very simple. We need to start living within our desert means. It's getting hotter, longer. We're running out of water. We're importing it from the Colorado River and evaporating as much as we'll ever use as it comes here. And so I'll stop.
Mr. Rockafellow, if you'll answer the next question first, it is, are you willing to support a dedicated campground that has access to running water and trash disposal for unhoused persons?
Yes, I think that is a fantastic idea that has been floating around this city for many years, and it is time that we implement not just one, but hopefully a dozen or even more, because that is the short-term, immediate way to start helping those that are living in our streets. I would like to see lockers involved. I would like to see showers, and if it can't have access to, based on its location, access to running water, we would have to have a way of having a tank system. I would like to see some sort of cooling center there where these individuals can either just seek shelter or at least get services or medical treatment that they are needing. So I think it's a fantastic idea and one of the many parts of a complicated solution to the crisis that we are currently facing.
Thank you, Mr. Tolkoff. Same question.
What he said. It's absolutely an imperative that we do something along those lines. As Leighton so eloquently said, it's a short-term solution. You know, we can build warehouses and put roofs over people's heads, but that doesn't solve the problem of homelessness. In business, I used to tell my managers, like, don't solve the symptoms, let's solve the problems. So once we get them into a position where they can maintain some sort of reasonable existence, we still need to deal with why are they in that situation? Is it because of it's a physical disability? Is it an emotional disability? Is it a mental disability? Is it a drug addiction? Those things have to be addressed. And so it is not the solution. It's the start of a solution.
Mr. Sinex, same question, please.
You're both right. Do I still have time?
Thank you.
Great. I would change it just a little bit. Okay, there are non-governmental groups in Tucson right now wanting to build tiny homes. Okay, let's do a twofer here. Let's build the tiny homes. Let's make sure it's on a bus route. Make sure that the water is available. But let's shade the entire area with solar panels so that we can start generating. So the sun is our only really reliable import that we have. Everything else is of question. So more solar panels, please. And it makes the whole place where they'll need to stay for whatever time period they are cooler, because it's hot out there, isn't it?
Ms. Schubert?
I yield my time.
Yes, I also am supportive of a sanctioned encampment model, but with some pretty clear caveats. I believe that these need to be scattered throughout the city. that the sites need to be very carefully chosen, and that community members that are nearby, business owners that are nearby these potential sites need to be brought into conversations early, that they're near transit, like Jim mentioned. And I think that this can also include micro shelter developments. Locally, I know we have projects like the homing project that took many years to get off the ground because of permitting. But I will also add that, yes, that is only a Band-Aid solution. It's incredibly important that we develop options for people who are all along the stage of getting to permanent housing, because most individuals who are out on the streets right now aren't ready to just be placed into permanent housing and left on their own. They need to be stepped through a clear process with clear guidelines and support so they don't fall through the gaps, so that they get the services and the treatment that they need. Some individuals will be in permanent supportive housing with wraparound services forever. Others may access employment and permanent housing. Thank you.
Next question, Mr. Tolkoff will answer first. And the question is, do you have a plan to appeal with the number of vacancies in patrol officers in TPD?
I yield my time. That's a big one. When I had my sub shop at the corner of 6th and Tucson Boulevard, the staff of Ward 6 at the time, which was before Steve K, they were dealing with the migration of officers from Tucson into other jurisdictions merely because they were getting paid more. And we were spending $100,000 to train a cadet, and we had a guarantee of 2 years. And they were leaving after 2 years. So that was a $50,000 per year cost to train them. And when I said to them, well, it seems to me that the answer is to pay them more, they said, well, the people in Tucson think the police make too much money. We need to have law enforcement, otherwise we might as well not have laws. And we were at 1,400 officers at one time, we're less than 800 now. We need to fully fund our first responders, period.
At heart, I'm a union guy. Okay? Spent 20 years doing union organization. And I can tell you, it's not about money, it's about respect. Okay? Sometimes respect is seen through the paycheck that they come home. But here's the thing about, especially the police, firefighters as well, we need to just realize that they kind of want to come home at night. And they deserve to be able to do that. And so they have a very, very hard job. And so they need to have backup. They need to we need to grow the force, I would think, just so that it can be a safer force, and then it's going to be a cleaner and kinder force as well.
Thank you, Ms. Schubert.
As with any city department, I fully support ensuring that staffing levels are appropriate and responsive to the city's needs, and that certainly includes police and fire and public safety in general. Response is one piece of the puzzle, though. The other part that we really need to think about are the upstream reasons, the upstream preventions to people having to access these services in the first place. That's why I'm so focused on affordable housing and have been for years as a community organizer. And that's why I've dug into understanding how local policy works as a city commissioner, to start to untangle the reasons why these situations keep coming up. When it comes to crime, by and large, most crimes are crimes of desperation and survival, and we need to provide individuals with a way to thrive, with a way to be compliant to the system, to find jobs and employment that works for them, and to find housing. And that's how we prevent crime. But yes, I also agree that we need to be thoughtful about staffing for our public safety personnel.
Thank you, Mr. Rockafellow.
We have a law firm. We have staff. There are two ways you keep staff. You treat them well and you pay them well. All right, we have a paralegal that has worked in our office since she was 21. She's now 45. That is the reality that TPD faces. They are not alone. There are police departments at Sahuarita, in Oro Valley, in Phoenix. All of them are recruiting. All of them are paying better. So this is a problem. And we need to increase salaries to prevent that attrition. You know, I was on a ride along with TPD 2 weeks ago, and I went to the county jail, and a sheriff came up to me and said, "Hey, if you're thinking about working for TPD, you should check out Sahuarita. They pay better." So this is just the reality that our police are facing. And it's never going to end unless you increase pay. So yes, I do support that.
Thank you so much. The next question will be answered by Mr. Sinex first. And the question is, what is your position on Project Blue?
Oh, is it really that hard? No, I'm serious. Is it really that hard? Okay, first of all, what do you know about it? Okay, if I was on the Pima County Supervisors, I would be a no vote at the secrecy. If they cannot trust the elected officials with the information, then there's something wrong there. It's really as simple as that. Now, water. We need to watch our water. Maybe a data center Arizona is not a place for a data center. Think about this for just a second. They use water to cool the data centers, right? And so it's going to take an enormous amount of water. But Huckabee, right? The Santa Rita mine hasn't come online yet.
We're back to you, Ms. Schubert.
My stance on Project Blue is that I am a firm no until I learn more information that alleviates my concerns about its impact on the security of our water future, the long-term impacts to our residents, and economically speaking as well. I think that there are serious concerns that still need to be addressed. I believe that, you know, as an environmentalist and somebody who has been endorsed by the Sierra Club, I take that backing very seriously. And I believe that it's in moments like this when there are enticements offered, there are real upsides that are being offered in relation to this project. It's in moments like this when elected officials have a duty and an obligation to protect natural resources for future generations.
Thank you. Mr. Rockafellow?
I disagree with the word enticements. This is an opportunity. And I am very frustrated, as I'm sure most of the people in this room are, that there is a lack of information, that there is a lack of understanding of exactly how much water and power are being proposed here. But there are a lot of really incredible promises being made. And I want to do the research. I want to meet with Tucson Water. I want to meet with TEP. I want to understand if what is being proposed is physically feasible, attainable, and possible. Because if it is, this is an opportunity for Tucson to show the world how you can build a sustainable industry out in the desert with 100% reclaimed water and solar power. I mean, we have a lot that can benefit the city here if we are careful and making sure that these promises are in fact achieved. So I would want to do more research, and I fear that saying no is just putting up that closed for business sign once again here in Tucson.
Thank you. Mr. Tolkoff?
Well, on its face, we all agree that there's not a lot of information, so I think it's an unfair question. I've read as much as I can about it. I've seen what was proposed, what's been promised, but the reality comes down to this. I'm not going to make that decision. The current city council is. And if they don't make a decision in our best interest, why did you put them there in the first place? If I were there, I'd do the research. I'd get the questions answered. If I couldn't get the questions answered, I'd say no. But I will tell you this, it's a golden opportunity. And that particular organization has invested millions and millions of dollars to look at coming here. And if we turn it down after they do that, I guarantee it will be 10 years before any other company looks at Tucson, and our poverty problem would continue to exist. It needs to be seriously considered, and we need to let the people who we've elected make the right decision for us. And I would do that if I was in the council.
Thank you. Okay, so we return again to Ms. Schubert. This question is, how will you develop the communications with all constituents and not just neighborhood associations to ensure all voices are heard?
This is something that I've spent literally years working on as a community organizer, how to get people involved in local governance, because these decisions impact your everyday life more than any other level of government. And I felt frustrated that I was seeing so many viewpoints being left out of decision making. For example, renters. Renters aren't really talked about when we talk about housing or when we talk about neighborhoods or communities, but they make up half or more. No, I think it's close to half of Tucsonans right now. When we talk about people who don't have cars, the latest study said that in the US, a third of people don't have access to a car. So these are people that are being left out. I believe that you bring people in by going to where they are, by meeting them where they're at, by giving them accessible information that is easy to digest, doing the hard work of reading the memos and the agendas, and translating that for the people so that they can get involved in a way that's accessible to them. And I'm very passionate about that work.
Thank you. Mr. Rockafellow.
Yeah, it's so frustrating. We have more ways to communicate than we've ever had before, and yet it feels like it's even harder to do. There are just so many ways to communicate that you end up reaching even fewer people. When it comes to neighborhood associations, I think we use them more as a opportunity to communicate. We provide them with monthly or bi-monthly mailers so that they can be getting information out to the community. We open up more town halls. We look at changing or expanding hours. We look at starting a TikTok. Oh my God, I don't even like that idea, but it's the reality we live in right now because that is how people are communicating. So we have to be out there being proactive. And I think, while I think your question about neighborhood associations, we use them as a conduit to get in touch with the neighborhoods.
Thank you. Mr. Tolkoff.
Well, at the first forum we had, I suggested that perhaps a thing that we could do would expand our ward office hours from 4 hours a day to a more appropriate, perhaps 8, maybe even 9. And then I suggested maybe we should open at noon and close at 8 o'clock at night so that people that actually work a 9-to-5 job have access to the phones and the people that are there and get a human on the line. I think that's a start. But, it goes back to my opening statement. We've got 90,000 people in Ward 6, and how many of them are represented here? Now, how many of them couldn't come here? I can't tell you how many other people had lives that they had to do where they couldn't take the time to be here. I'm not really sure what the answer is, but I can say this, that a lot of people I talk to don't want to get involved because nothing changes. That's why I'm running. I want things to change. And I'm a different animal, and I've got an experience of building a company.
Thank you. Mr. Sinex?
Well, I'm a school teacher. That's what we do. It's really simple, not simplistic. Okay. So my three pieces: community decision making, better representative democracy, living within our means. Those are the bases of all decision making. Okay. Let's pound that into the heads of everybody. That's what we do. That's what we do in a classroom, right? You repeat it. And you say this is why we're doing something, and it fits into this area. The other thing is town halls. Let's just do some town halls open to everyone else. How about a sub-ward council to help us make some decisions? For example, if we were to make a more modern election system, why not do that within a sub-ward council?
Thank you. Mr. Rockafellow?
Yes.
You're first to answer the next question.
Right.
And that question is, what aspect of the violence intervention vitalization action model do you think could be applied to areas of Ward 6 beyond Grant and Alvanon?
Well, So Viva is an incredible program, and what I love about it is its ability to bring together so many different aspects, so many different groups in our community to holistically address the sources that are causing crime. And we've seen a lot of successes with it. As I sit here, I don't know the high crime areas in Ward 6. I can tell you that Alvernon and 5th also has a higher crime statistics than most of the rest of Ward 6. And I absolutely would love to see that model of bringing together the community, collaborating to address the sources of crime. And we've seen results, and I'm very encouraged by that.
Thank you. Mr. Tolkoff?
The numbers that I've seen show a tremendous amount of success. But if you look at the map that the university puts out, the amount of red in our town, there's not enough resources to implement that throughout the city. And our city is rated at a D+ as far as crime is concerned. I think that you have to target the areas specifically around the city. If Ward 6 is one of the higher ones, then yeah, let's put those resources there. But if it's over in Ward 3 and they're having more significant crimes, violent crimes, then we need to focus there. Reality is that we need more law enforcement to at least be at the level that it was in 2002, and then that will mitigate a lot of the crime that goes on because there's just nobody watching. You can walk into a.
Thank you so much. Mr. Sinex.
I know what red lights are.
What's the most important answer that any elected official, anybody, anyone, anywhere, in any project can give you? Okay? The most important answer is, I don't know. I don't know. It's not a project that I'm aware enough to actually give you a good, honest answer. But it's one that I would study. And guess what? Everybody here is going to have these. But I can tell you what I'm hearing and what I have heard is that the idea is to get at the basic roots of what causes problems. Okay? I'm accused by my daughter often of being a reductionist. But that's what I do. You solve a problem by reducing it down to its bare bones, and then you figure out what needs to be tweaked there, and from that it grows. So if we want to solve violent crime, and we have a program that can stop me.
Thank you so much. Mrs. Schubert, same question.
I really support approaches that allow us to effectively deploy the personnel that we have in ways that are targeted and thoughtful and based on high quality data. And so I think that identifying hotspots where there are recurring problems and getting to the root cause, that is a program that has been shown to work. At the same time, we need to look again for prevention so that these hotspots don't keep occurring. And sometimes it's as simple as upgrading the infrastructure in that area and ensuring there's good lighting. Things like ensuring there's access to public restrooms and trash cans. Also, addressing our housing crisis by building the housing that the Housing Needs Assessment has told us that we need to build to meaningfully address the crisis. That will also help prevent crime hotspots from popping up because people will have their basic needs met. So I support all of those approaches.
Thank you. Mr. Tolkoff, we are at having you answer the next question first, and it's a two-part question.
Ooh. I'm old. I need to get reminded of the second one, probably. So.
Do you agree with the mayor and council's vote on the community corridor tool? And do you agree with their vote on ADUs, accessory dwelling units?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, those are easy. Yeah, I do. I was a contractor for 10 years. I've built some homes in neighborhoods. Had to work around the restrictions of zoning. I have a neighbor that in 2 doors down from my house that built a 4,800 square foot steel shed that is 28 feet tall, and that was under code and zonings. So a lot of people in the neighborhood are not too happy about that. But the reality is that any tool that will allow us to do a better job of taking advantage of underutilized land within the city, I think is a good idea. It makes mass transit easier to be utilized. There's all kinds of good things. As far as the ADU, it falls under the same thing. It's a great idea. The problem is that an ADU will cost you about $200,000 to build. Development services needs to be streamlined. They should have pre-approved plans where you can go in and go, I want to build this, and it's slam dunk.
Thank you. Mr. Sinex?
Community corridor tool. I'm going to tell you something about scientific process here. Basically, you run an experiment on a small level so that you can see if you want to expand it. I would have liked to have seen the community corridor tool tested more. It's a great idea. It seems like a great idea. It might be a great idea, but we don't know if it's a great idea, so let's put it all over the city. I don't get that. It doesn't quite make sense. The other thing I'd like to see in terms of that community corridor tool and what we're building, I would love to have a good meeting with all the architects and say, please, can't we build Tucson to look different than Phoenix that wants to look like Los Angeles? Okay, we're different here. We need to look different. Okay, as far as accessory dwellings, so, there are a lot of, I live on this is my neighborhood, my neighborhood, and I'm stopping right there.
Yes, I am supportive of both the Community Corridors tool and the ADU ordinance. The Community Corridors tool, contrary to what some people feared, is not a mass rezoning, but an opt-in tool that makes it so that developers can build more projects that reflect the community's needs. Things like wider sidewalks, built-in open space, landscaping, affordability. So, this is disrupting our normal pattern of what we just let get built all the time, which are car washes and drive-throughs and strip malls. And I'm tired of those, and I think we can do better than that. It will help keep Tucson looking more like Tucson. I support more recent projects like the Soul Block and Sunshine Mile overlay that enable innovative ways to develop. The ADU ordinance, I'm supportive of it, and I think that we need to do so much more to make this housing type accessible to more people. It is too expensive.
Thank you.
I'll start with the ADU just to mix it up a bit. I think it's a good ordinance, and the only problem with it is it's going to take a long time to actually see the effects, because people don't just rush to spend $200,000 on their backyard. And a lot of people like myself, we don't have any space to be building any ADUs in our yards. So it's a good idea. We'll see how it goes, whether it gets the desired results or whether it just becomes mother-in-law units, so to speak. Community corridors tool, I agree with Jim. I love the idea of it. I have two concerns. A, that it might erode some of our neighborhoods, especially our historic and our lowest income neighborhoods. And B, I think that it was laid over too much of the city all at once. I think it should have been done in a more a slower fashion.
Thank you. Mr. Sinex, you will answer the next question first.
I don't get to continue the next one? Okay.
Do you support word-only elections for the city of Tucson?
No. You did that just for me, didn't you? Yeah. Here's the thing. I'm going to tell you how Jay wins, okay? Jay wins by low voter turnout in 1 and 5, and a lower voter turnout in 6 and 3, and then a high voter turnout in 2 and 4. Fred Ronstadt won by winning in 2 and 4. So do I think we should elect our own representatives? Yeah. Do I also think that we should be electing with a majority rule? Yes, I do. See, we can have a modern system and we can have a better system that represents everyone if we just choose to talk about it. There are a lot of better ways to do things than our 1929 law, which is based on 1929 ideas.
Thank you.
I'm supportive of exploring any and all ways that we can make local elections accessible to more voters and to make our representatives more representative of the electorate that they are trying to serve. That may include getting rid of ward-only elections. Frankly, it's not in my wheelhouse as much as Jim's, but I would be interested because I think that voting is so important and that everybody needs to be engaged in choosing their local elected officials.
Let me tell you about the day I met Jim Sinex and the journey that it took to get me to this, because I do absolutely support the idea of changing to ward-only general election. There is a voter disenfranchisement happening. If you look at the actual statistics, there probably should be at least one Republican on this city council. That would be a more equal representation of the people that live in this city. Okay, that's just the truth. And that's how you get a healthy democracy, is you have people that truly represent those people in their wards. So not that, the problem is it doesn't seem to be a priority for anybody. I would defer to Jim on this stuff because he's been thinking about this question for about 20 years and he has a lot to say about it.
Thank you. Mr. Tolkoff.
So, tagging along to what my buddy Jim had to say, the way I get elected is making sure I'm on the ballot in November. And I will be on the ballot in November. The ward-only thing. Okay, let's get realistic. We live in what's known as a representative republic. It's now been changed to a representative democracy. The reality is we don't have representation. I've lived in Ward 6 for more than 45 years. And the person that I have to deal with when I have a problem with the city was elected by somebody that lives at Valencia and Cardinal. It's completely inappropriate. It is un-American. It absolutely needs to be changed. Those laws were created in the 20s. They're Jim Crow style laws, and I think we've gotten past that. So, yeah, they need to go away tomorrow.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at the end of our question and answer portion. We will now take 10 minutes to close. However, due to the size of the crowd and the fact that certain people in the back can only hear your voices, I'd like to just take a moment and ask each candidate to stand so that the audience will be able to associate a name and a face. Ms. Schubert, if you would not mind standing so that the audience will be able to recognize you.
Just tilt it up. Or not.
Okay, is that going to be, will it be fine? Okay, how's that? Okay, thank you. Appreciate the advice. All right, throughout this campaign, I've had hundreds of conversations across Ward 6, at the doors, in neighborhood association meetings, and at events like this one. What's clear is that Tucsonans are ready for leadership that is rooted in community and advances real solutions hand in hand with all of you. I'm not a career politician. I'm a community organizer, a city commissioner, a proud union member, a bicycle commuter, and a homeowner. And I believe in this city and its potential, but only if we can work together. My coalition of support reflects Tucson and its unique local character. It includes small businesses, labor unions, grassroots organizations, local artisans, and of course, local elected officials. I'm proud of the movement that we are building in this people-powered campaign. Our campaign was the first to qualify for the ballot, submitting the maximum number of nominating signatures and the paperwork for public matching funds on the very first day of filing, prior to receiving any major endorsements. To date, we have over 450 individual contributors with an average donation of $75. We've made attempts at contacting almost 20,000 voters across the ward in 9,000 neighborhoods. at 9,000 doors, not 9,000 neighborhoods. It feels like 9,000 neighborhoods. Placed more than 300 signs in the front yards of our Ward 6 supporters and sent more than 22,000 text messages. We have real opportunities ahead of us to make Tucson more affordable, more sustainable, more connected, and more welcoming. I'm ready to lead with clarity, courage, and care.
Thank you so much.
This job is about solving problems, about finding lasting solutions. We're entering a time of many unknowns. Our budget is going to be pulled in many directions. The federal budgets are shrinking for Tucson and beyond. And there are going to be a lot of very complex, difficult problems in the next 4 years and probably 8 years. I am somebody who spends his career solving complex problems. I know what it takes to start somewhere. Excuse me, my insulin pump is... Okay, apologies. I know what it takes to go from no to having a compromise that is good for all sides. It means talking with all parties, it means understanding the issues, and it means finding a solution that sits somewhere in the middle. If you are happy with the direction that our city has been going, if you are happy with increased homelessness, with increased violent crime, if you're happy with a net loss of jobs in 2024, if you are happy with the direction we are going, then the political establishment has told you who to vote for, and it is not me, okay? I am not endorsed by anyone who is elected. I am not endorsed by the establishment here in Tucson. I am an outsider, and that is exactly who Tucson needs.
Thank you. Mr. Tolkoff?
Okay. All right, tilt it up a lot. All right, so as you are all probably well aware, and look at all you people back there, I am the Republican, and I became a Republican in February of this year. I've been an independent party, non-declared person my entire life. And when I decided to run as a Republican, I had many people who've known me for years, that have known me from building Domino's Pizza from 4 people to 400 people, and having a successful sub shop and a successful construction company, and helping to turn KXCI around so that it's still on the air 30 years later. I've got a lot of successes, and these people say, you don't stand a chance in hell. And the only reason is because there's an R next to my name. And that's a sad state of affairs. Back in 1996, there was a well-educated, well-known woman by the name of Hillary Clinton who wrote a book called It Takes a Village. And the essence of that book, 30 seconds, the essence of that book is it takes a whole bunch of different talents and things to raise a child. Tucson is our child. We have a city council that is essentially 7 people with the same community activist, community organizer, idealistic, ideas, and they don't have the ability to get things done. I do. By the time November comes around, I want you to know me well enough to know that I am the right choice that makes things happen for you in Tucson, and then we can build a Tucson for tomorrow.
Thank you. Mr. Sinex.
Hi back there. My name is Jim Sinex, and I'm here to recruit you. Do you know who I just quoted?
Yes.
Harvey Milk, right? Just got his name scrubbed off an oiler, just in time for Pride Month, right? You know this guy. Okay, Harvey Milk could not get elected in San Francisco until they changed their election law from something that we have today to a single district election system. So if you want your Harvey Milks in Tucson, we need to change the election system. I'm not going to ask for your vote. I'm the odd duck here. What I want is your informed consent. Here's what I want you to do. There are 3 of us here. I'm going to tell you straight out. You're going to be fine with any of the 3 of us. Okay? This is what I want you to do. He doesn't count. This is a Democratic primary. So, my card out there will help you do this. Okay? I want you to go to our websites. We've got extensive websites. You can find out a lot more about us. Go to all three. Look at all of them. Make your decision, and then tell everybody you know what your decision is. Let's start a communication scheme here, and let's bring up the voter turnout. That's what we need to do here so that we are better represented in this city. I beat your stop sign.
I was waiting to. As we conclude, we extend our gratitude to the Martha Cooper Library. Please also join me in thanking our candidates for their time, their commitment to public service, and for being great partakers today. I believe we had a good time and we learned a lot. I want to also thank our volunteers for making this event possible, and you, the audience, for being engaged, informed voters. So we've been saving and being quiet. Now's the time we can make some noise. Thank you, everyone. I do believe the candidates will be hanging around if we didn't get to your question. And please have a wonderful, safe evening.